evil forces of the Decepticons. Transformers.
Before it's time to spin, you've got to first cue it up.
I'm probably in your area too. Everybody who owns a laptop, they're a DJ. Everybody who owns a DSL camera, they're a photographer.
And what I'll do is put up blurbs so therefore you can see what I'm thinking about and why I chose that song. You can see the reaction of the kids. So you can kind of like get an idea of how to use it and what to expect.
Why do you want to charge for something that you have the knowledge of and these other DJs don't have the knowledge of? Share your knowledge, you know?
Right.
But DJing's a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but it is a lot of fun too, you know? I'm DJ Mikie Mike. I cover central, northeastern Pennsylvania, southeastern Pennsylvania, parts of New Jersey, parts of New York State.
And I'm Dwayne Dixon, the Hitman DDub from Cleveland, Ohio. And it's time to cue it up. Okay, what's up everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Cue It Up DJ podcast with me, Dwayne Dixon, the Hitman DDub, and your other co-host, DJ Mikie Mike, and we're joined by another DJ friend, DJ Crossfire from Alabama, or is it Miss
Alabama? Yeah.
Alabama, okay, I had it right. Before we jump in our show, the DJ podcast, we're here to connect, learn, and grow from pro tips to real talk, where we're here to support and celebrate the DJ community, and we're here to support DJs of all skill levels. Last week, we were joined by DJ Reese and also DJ Cool Thing, and the key takeaways from last week's show was reinvent to stay relevant, skill and gear aren't enough, and focus on a purpose. So reinvent to stay relevant means don't wait for approval, adapt, pivot, and evolve your brand. Skill and gear isn't enough. Relationships, branding, and professionalism drive bookings, and then focus on a purpose and not clout. So value is greater than views. Be intentional and authentic in your DJ journey. So I know we have a lot of gigs coming up, and we had a lot of gigs from last week. I know you had a gig today, Mikie Mike.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Corporate party for Bowden Company. Mm-hmm. They're from England.
And what about last week? I know you sent a whole bunch of pictures.
Yeah, last week it was a graduation party. It was great. I mean, it was a typical party for graduation season, you know, and it's just they've changed from when I started DJing to presently, just because the music has evolved.
Mm. And I'm looking at, don't be scared. I know I told you not to tell these long stories. You're being very short tonight.
Yes, very short.
So if you need me to lead you, I'll lead you, because I'm looking at these pictures, these videos, and I'm like, these are some old graduates. They look like...
No, I'm sorry. There was one night, it was a graduation. This one was a private event. This was at a 4th of July party, but I also did a graduation party, which I didn't put no videos up. I'm sorry about that. I got it mixed up because I'm doing so many events, graduation season, and It was a graduation party. Then the next day was the 4th of July. This family I've been doing their 4th of July party for the last, including COVID, the 2 years for COVID, so 7 years all total. So, taking the COVID 2 years out, so it'd be 5 years minus COVID.
Okay.
Great people, great people. The one gentleman I know since we grew up together.
Okay. And can you see the screen now that
Yes.
what I'm showing? Okay.
Yes.
For some
Yes.
reason, I don't know why it stopped sharing. So that's why you didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, graduation season's upon us, and I did a graduation party the night before. So I thought I might have shot some video on my camera. I didn't post that yet,
hmm
but I'm thinking maybe I did. So I mixed myself up on that one. I'm sorry about that.
hmm I see you was working hard after. Can you remember last week's show? We were like everybody put up gig vlogs. I see you didn't just put up your one. You put up 2, 3, 4. It's like that was a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, it's like I say, you have nothing to do, and then all of a sudden it's just like boom, everything gets dumped on top of you at one shot, and then you start to lose your mind a little bit, I guess.
hmm Okay. What about you, DJ Crossfire?
Last week, yeah, I actually had three gigs to do. One on the lakeside, and the other one at a side-by-side event. Well, say one, I got two there. I ended up doing a Friday night, 4th of July, and Saturday the 5th for the continuation of the after party. That was mine. It was wild. It really was. We turned Friday night into a mini Coachella.
hmm
Obviously, the third was after, on a Thursday, everyone breaking from work. Some of them left early. And they decided to party on the lake. So we decided to give them a full USA birthday early.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to see if I can stop this picture. So, cause you do yours different. So let's
I do
see.
mine very different.
Yeah,
Very,
I'm gonna
very
put this on the big screen so we all can see. So when you do your outside gigs, most of us like bring like a tent or something, but you do something
Yeah,
totally different.
That one there is one of my indoor wedding gigs. Just set up and just give them a little taste of what we can do. Obviously, the decks, what we was looking at outside with the fireworks. Obviously, got to light the place up. You got to give them the visual looks because everything's about showmanship over here.
hmm
Over in England, we can have it, but we let the music do the talking most of the time.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
But I see you have like a trailer. That's why I was getting at.
I do. I actually DJ off the back of a trailer. It's a 12-foot trailer.
Mhm.
6 foot of it's storage for my equipment. The other 6 foot I use as a stage. Set it up on there and just rock out, doing pool parties, and
That's cool.
evidently the tailgates and everything else as well. Anything you want outside, we do. I cater to all of it.
Okay. Speaking about tailgates, have you ever did a tailgate like during college season and all that?
Yes, we have. It gets pretty wild. You get some of the teenage ones, but I prefer the more of a college vibe, sort of like Alabama, Auburn, that kind of vibe.
hmm
Sometimes I get called for a tailgate party that's not actually in Alabama. Alabama
Uh-huh.
State. And I end up doing a sort of like big old car parking lot where they got them on a giant screen.
Okay.
Cool.
All right,
That's
cool.
nice.
And then mine's, I didn't really have a gig. It was more so, if you want to call playing for your family, but then I guess also entertaining the neighborhood because we did our 4th of July celebration or family get together, and I just bought my stuff out and because my gig is Saturday. I'm doing a fireworks show in Shelby. There's Shelby bicycle and firework celebration. So I'll be providing music for their, I guess you can call it carnival during the day, and then at night doing the music for the fireworks show. So basically, I was just pretty much trying to figure out what I'm going to play for Saturday, and then fighting off the bugs. And I'm still scratching. I got a whole bunch of mosquito bites and everything going on. And then
Have to invest in some Propel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
normally
been my
they
friend.
normally they don't attack like that. Even we had the smoke thing that's supposed to drive the bugs away, but it seemed like it drew them. So
Yeah.
I ate all up. And then also I didn't realize, I don't know if it came from a couple of weeks that my June 19th gig where it rained. Well, anyway, my controller, the fader knob. Yeah, I don't want.
Oh, no.
I don't have it. Yeah, not the tempo fader knob. Stop. Like, it still worked, but every time you move it, instead of going in increments, like if it starts at 100 and you go down 99, 98, and so forth, it'll go down a little bit and then it do a big jump back up. So you're just jumping all over the place. So I have to see about getting that fixed when I go to Guitar Center this weekend. Because there's a little part, but of course, I have the Rev 1. They don't really, those parts is hard to find now since that's almost like obsolete. Because it's just a
Yes.
matter of popping out the fader and putting another one in. Because I thought it was going to be difficult to take it apart and all that, but it was pretty simple. And then also the video that's showing now, I played University Hospital. They had their cancer, the Cancer Foundation annual banquet kind of thing, fundraiser. And I played the bass drum. We did a Mardi Gras kind of thing. So the Caramu House that does a lot of community theaters, all of us that play instruments, we had a couple of trumpets, trombones. I played the bass drum. We had the snare drummer and the tuba player. We all played like Mardi Gras songs while they were doing their all day fundraiser. And that was a big event. They raised $1.5 million for cancer research. So that was another interesting thing.
That's nice.
Yep. And that's a place where you walked in and you saw money. You know, you could tell that people have money when you're around money. So
Yes.
real money, not the ones where they come dressed all up. Their cars are nice, but you can just sense this is money right here. So
Yeah.
that's a nice little quick paycheck. So that was my little gig for last week that's leading up to this week. So today's topic is all about, well, let's go back. I think it was it was the first time that Cool Thing came on. That was 2 weeks ago. And then Crossfire had mentioned something about doing an episode to take a look at the difference between the way the US go about DJing and the way that the UK DJs. And so this is what led up to today's topic, which is DJing in two worlds. Since we're doing the summer blockbuster theme, this week is all about the Transformers, and we're going to take a look at what is the difference or the similarities between the US DJs and the UK DJs. So before we get into that, DJ Crossfire, why did you pick that? So like, give us like some background information about yourself so they can give us some kind of context of why this topic came up.
Yeah, no worries. Well, I started DJing when I was 23 years old. I was being a roadie for at least a year. Wasn't really interested in DJing. I just wanted to help a friend out.
All right, just turn yourself up. Turn your mic up just a little bit.
I'll sit a little closer. I
Okay.
got the puppy underneath me. We got thunderstorms. He's you know, he's a big boy. So anyway, so like I said, it was about was doing a roadie job for about a year, just helping out a friend, and it started out with a whole bunch. He ended up having stomach problems. I had to keep going to the bathroom. a crazy, he'd eaten something silly. And he said, you know what I play? Just play this, play that, straight after it. I'll be straight back. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I mean, I've seen you play, I've watched you and I enjoy your stuff. He turned around and said, just play it. I'll be back in a minute. Anyway, long and behold, story goes that I played a few tracks for him that night because he had to keep running back and forth to the bathroom. And ended up catching the bug because he said, you're going to need to do this from time to time. He said, especially for bathroom breaks. I'm like, well, okay, And I just ended up getting a bug for it. Just filling in for him, warm-up evenings, such like, then start doing the club warm-up evenings for him. And like I said, from 23 years old, I carried on DJing right the way through to today. Took a small break when I emigrated to the US in 2003. Had a little bit I wanted to make sure everything was paid for before I started up over here. And since I've been over here, I've been thinking outside the box for how I've seen other DJs play. And yeah, I want to bring something new.
Okay. So, with that said, let's cue it up and get into tonight's show. So, preparing for the show, I thought the best way to kind of like see if there's any similarities or difference between the way we do things in the US and over in the UK, I created a chart. So, throughout tonight, as we talk about each topic, we're going to keep track of similarities and differences. And the main things we're going to look at between the US DJs and the UK DJs falls into these 4 categories. We're going to look at the musical and cultural differences, the industry differences, events or cultural differences, and style and branding. Seeing if it's I know there's differences, but see if there's a vast difference between these 4 items or if it's more similar than what we think. So, the first topic is music genres. So, since you're from do you want us to start? Let's just do this. We'll just alternate. I can go first, and then the next one, we can go to you, Crossfire, then the third one, Mikie Mike, and then we keep going back to the 4. All right, so with the genres, what I noticed that we play a lot of hip hop, R&B, country, and we have an influx of Latino music. And when I watch YouTube videos, because there's a few UK DJs that I watch, like DJ CB. There's 2 of them that have disco in their name. I tried to find them, and of course I couldn't find them. And I used to, when I first started DJing, trying to get some ideas, there was this little boy his name was Ali from the UK. And he had a lot of good ideas for someone being so young. And I noticed that all of them their musical styles were more so house, as DJ CB would say. I thought he was saying garbage music, but it's garbage music. The way he says, until I saw the word spelled out, it's garage. I was like, oh, garage music. And
Garage.
Garage. And I also noticed that they played a lot of the discos. They remind me of, what do you call that, Club 45 back in the day?
Yes, the Club 45 over here in the US.
Yeah. So that's the kind of music I saw them play. I didn't hear them play too much of what we call mainstream, the stuff that we hear on the radio. So I would say it would be not vastly different. It seemed like it was older. I can't even say older because I'm not over in the UK, but it seemed like it's older sounding to us what we used to. So what's your thoughts?
Well, you already know that hip hop and all that came from disco to begin with. Yeah, there's a massive cultural difference where it comes to music over in England. You have a lot of tendency over in the UK, more of a dance style. People like to dance a lot more often than what they do over in the US. Down here in South Alabama, they tend to not dance, they just want to see a performance. Big cultural difference. We'd actually play sort of like more of, we can get away with a lot more cheesy music than what you can up here. Everything seems to be, it's about certain artists. The country, as far as I'm concerned, it's like crying your beer music compared with England. You know, it's one of those, I lost my truck on a muddy road, that kind of stuff, and you know, drinking all this beer. And yeah, okay, that's kind of having a good time, but the difference, a lot of the difference over in England that I've noticed was we're more about love and peace. We have, you know, I mean, I suppose I grew up because of the ecstasy generation. We are more of a uplifting, love, peace kind of thing. I mean, we do actually have the hip hop, you know, the R&B over there, but we've kind of evolved from that kind of thing into UK bassline, which is like a garage style. We do actually still have the popular songs from like Beyonce and such likes, but for the most part, it is a different cultural existence. You know, your music is doing the talking. You're not speaking on the mic so much. You know, you can hide behind a curtain as long as you're pulling off a wicked mix and you're not, you know, destroying the dance floor. They'll dance to most things over there. Disco, they'll dance to pop a lot more. They'll definitely do B-sides to tracks, like tech house versions. They love anything that's got a little bit more uplift than what the US has. That's mainly the fundamental difference. You need to, over in England, to become a DJ, you need to be able to mix and mix seamlessly all the time, every time. Whereas over here, you can drop banger after banger, even though it kind of flows, it's sort of like more of a shock to the system. It's a showman deal. Whereas the British DJs tend to make it flow. We actually tell a story with what we do instead of actually voicing the story. Over in the US, hype, mic the crowd up, hype, mic the crowd up for each and every track. And it's, you know, to me, that's mundane. You come over to listen to music. You don't come over just to listen to a DJ.
So it's more so a vibe. Not only a vibe, but it seemed like you all's attention span seems to be longer. Whereas
Yes.
over here, it seems like you're describing like what I ran into when I like do kids dances. It's like it's more so. It's not like you're making sure the flow or the energy stays the same or there's a gradually change. Theirs is more so that 15 to 30 second, oh, let me get my selfie picture, then on to the next thing, as opposed to actually dancing all day.
That's the US style. I mean, I love the differences over here. I mean, it's made me grow as a DJ. I still play over in England occasionally, and for the most part, I still, you know, I mainly DJ out in Alabama for, you know, to try and change the style just slightly from the country rock and hip hop that they have over here. And trying to convince people is very different. You have to get the crowd to trust you before you can actually drop in something that they've never heard of before.
Right.
That will still keep them dancing. Over here, they've got to hear it and hear it a couple of times on the radio before they'll even get up. So it's difficult, but it's actually challenging in a great way.
All right. So what about you, Mikie Mike?
Well, like the music across the board over the years it's just changed so much that you really have to sit down and you have to, as a DJ, go through everything from point A to point Z. You know, people pick up music and they say, "Man, I love this song. That this is going to be a big hit. It's going to be this, that," and it turns out to be a belly flopper. That's about it, you know. And stuff that you don't think will be a hit turns out to be a hit, and it's just you really have to have the knowledge of music. Um, Today, my impression is going back 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago, they were true artists. Today, you got a person who puts a rhyme together. He goes into the studio, he does his rhyme, they throw a drum beat behind it, they throw this, that, and then boom, you got a hit on the radio. Is it going to be a hit in the dance world or DJ world? No. It may not be, but a lot of times it isn't. So I give a lot of credit to these gentlemen and women that do create what they're creating and the people that are creating the stuff on their computers. But that you'll never see them in concert, or if you do, they're basically, you know, singing along to the record that they released. They're not singing live because there's no possible way they could duplicate what they did in the studio. It's sad that music has changed so much. There are still some good artists out there, or great artists, and they're far and few in between. But as a DJ, we really have to have knowledge of music. We have to make sure the song is clean, even though it may say it's clean, and it isn't. You know, there's still some little bit of cursing in it and stuff. And here in America, the attention span has dropped to the minimum, and not just with the younger generation, even the generation of my age, 60. I did a party today, and it was like they want to hear 30, 40 seconds in the song, and boom, on to the next one. Then there was a group of people that wanted to hear the whole song. So it was like you had your mixed bag of people today. So it's the music industry has changed, and we have to adapt and change with it. If not, we're just going to be dust in the wind, you know?
Mm-hmm. And then going back to what you were saying, that it's really not that people don't even have to go into the studio, because now they can do it on their computer. In fact, you don't even have to know how to. Not too long ago, you still had to have some kind of knowledge, some knowledge about music in order to put a song together. Now you don't have to have any knowledge, because now with AI, you just type in a word and it does it for you. So the musicianship is, I see a decline in that, and it's going to be very steep of a decline now, because now you don't, in order to put out a viral hit, you don't even need to have any kind of musical knowledge.
No.
And then now it's like it's okay to copy somebody else. So that's another thing, because back in like the 80s and stuff, it was a sin to have a song that sounded like somebody else's song or not be creative. Now it's almost like you're rewarded for doing that. Everybody piggybacking on each other.
Yes. Just one little add on to that is going back in the 80s, even in the 90s, we had a lot of local bands that did a lot of covers, and they had their own music too. Today, there's barely any local bands. I think there's only 2 or 3 that are around our area. We have a couple of duos, but they can't duplicate what's being played on the radio, and these people want to hear what's being played on the radio, and so they rely on the DJ to put the music out for them.
Mm-hmm. So, are our music genres the same or different?
They're different for the most part, I believe.
Okay.
I mean, I can play some tech house versions of some US tracks that made it big over here, and they kind of like it, but it doesn't get them like the originals. Don't get me wrong, some of them tech house versions and some of the disco versions of some of these tracks, they're, you know, they know them, they can sing along to them, but it's really, do they really know them?
Mm-hmm.
They're so used to actually having everything played radio style, radio edits.
Okay.
Whereas we like to expand a little bit more. And like I said, we like to hype it up with music rather than speaking on the mic.
Okay. So
Yes.
we say, you say different, I say it's different, and then Mikie Mike.
Definitely it's different.
All right, so we'll put that over here. So that's one that's different. Now, Crossfire, you go first on this one. As far as the club culture.
Oh, club culture. It's probably different from the pandemic. Obviously, a lot of clubs have actually shut down over in England. But you still got some of the clubs that are open. They're pretty big, but not as big as what they used to be. It used to be lined up around the corner, you know, from the door. Doorman says, you know, if your name's not down here, you ain't coming in. You know, you need to book in advance. Some places they still say, well, you know, you can come in, you know, we ain't at capacity. We can go in. We can let you in. As long as we let those in first who've actually reserved a night at this particular club. The club vibe out there is still kind of like Love and Peace, but it does come with a caveat with it. You do actually see a lot more people that are single or even taken, but they seem to be on the pull. They seem to be, you know, chatting up all the girls. They seem to be chatting up, you know, the guys trying to look cool as normal, you know. But in the end, when the DJ puts absolute bangers on, you know, about midway through the evening, it doesn't matter. They're all together. They're all going to be up in the air, hands up. Yeah, let's go. But he's not actually saying anything on the mic. I've gone to clubs where the DJ hasn't said a word. We just actually let music flow. That is the club culture over in England. Now over here, again, you're a showman. You got to hype everything up. The mixing styles are completely different. They do actually scratch a lot more over here. And, you know, it just seems to take away because you can't really dance to scratch. I've never known anyone to. And when you do that, all they want to do is just turn around, look at the DJ and watch what he's doing. No, the DJ needs to be kept behind the curtain. And it's about the crowd, not about the DJ.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so Mikie Mike, what is your thoughts?
Yeah, definitely. You know, as a DJ, I basically do a lot of wedding DJ. You know, DJing a lot of weddings. But no matter what event that you are DJing, I don't care if it's a graduation party, corporate party, whatever it is. Some of these DJs come out and, you know, they want to be forefront. They want to be the one who's noticed. You're not. You have to step back. You're not producing the music, but you're getting the music out there for the crowd. And, you know, you have to listen to what they want to hear. You got to read the crowd and stuff like that. But if you're doing a corporate party, they may just say, play your yacht rock. They might get a couple requests for, say, like the Cupid Shuffle. You get a bunch of people come out. But again, me as a DJ, I step back and I let my music do the talking for me. I'm not on the microphone a lot unless I'm told to make different announcements. But basically, you have a radio DJ, he's on the microphone a lot. You have a mobile DJ, you should be sitting back, playing the music, paying attention to the crowd, letting them enjoy what you're going to create for them. We have to be able to look at music and say, okay, this is going to go here, here, here. And you want to create a nice vibe, a nice atmosphere for them to enjoy their evening. Or like today's party was in the afternoon. to enjoy their afternoon. It's not that you're going to go out there and kill it like a wedding. Wedding's totally different. That you have to hit the bangers. You got to make sure that people are dancing. But again, there's a couple of things that I did, and it wasn't the big bangers that we think of. It was 80s hairband music that the crowd was into. Prior to that, I played everything possible and couldn't get the people to dance for nothing. I thought they were glued to the seats or their shoes were glued to the floor. As soon as I threw some heavy metal on from the 80s, boom, it worked. So, again, DJ, step back. Like Crossfire said, step back behind the curtain. Let your music do the talking for you.
All right. So I'm not used to you keeping your answers more than like no more than
I
2
know.
minutes.
I'm pretty good tonight, aren't I?
Yep.
I turned my phone over.
Yeah,
Right.
but see, I haven't been to the club since college, and for a couple of reasons. One, once the music got into more of that gangster rap kind of stuff, it's like the clubs that I would go to, that's the kind of music that they will play. So when you play that kind of music, that brings up about a certain kind of audience or issues and behaviors. So that's why I stopped going to the clubs. But I do notice that the DJs here speak more on the mic, and they are more like the big name personality DJs. And I'm wondering, because they speak on the mic, is it the reason they do that is because a lot of clubs only get DJs to DJ for them that can bring in a following. So it's almost like you have to have that social presence, and then you have to come in and be the center of the attention. So I'm thinking that's why the mental mind frame of the US DJ is more or less like the one that has to be on the mic and have to be like the center of the attention. So about how do the clubs do or promoters do over in the UK with their DJs?
You don't see too many promoters unless it's actually the massive clubs, the mainstream clubs, Ministry, for example. I mean, they'll have a whole bunch of club promoters. Oh, you need to see this guy. You need to get him in. Everything else. Even then, we have a lot of DJs where, you know, if you have one that's doing a warm up of the evening, he may actually announce that the guest DJ who happen to be one of these superstar DJs, which to me, I don't see there is any anymore. I mean, okay, you have a few showmans like James Hype and such likes, David Guetta, but they're long gone. I mean, the working DJ who goes out there doing the weddings, the birthday parties, the charity events, corporate events, you know, I mean, yeah, we've had to learn two different worlds. Again, we don't do so many of the corporate picnics, or, you know, we do a couple of charity events, not very often. They don't come up as much as what they do over here. I've actually tried to avoid weddings personally. Too many bad experiences where the bride and groom's family, they didn't mesh well. And they're cutting daggers at each other, yet they're still sort of like swinging the shoulders type thing, and it's sort of like, well, this is awkward. So this is where you have to, I mean, to say that one side's better than the other, I couldn't say it. No. I mean, over in England, we learn, you know, we have to respect the mix, right? Whereas over here, we respect the showman. And I've had to learn that. It's difficult for someone who used to be introverted. I've had to learn that. It's difficult. There's only so many times you can say, put your hands up in the air. It really is, without it getting old.
Yep. So let's go around the room again. So Crossfire, same or different for club culture?
Club culture is different.
Okay. What about you, Mikie Mike?
Definitely club culture is totally different. Good friend of mine who was a wedding DJ started DJing in the club, and now he came back to doing weddings, and it just he lost his touch. I mean, he totally lost his touch. He drinks now while he's doing a wedding,
Mm.
which is totally wrong. And as he gets intoxicated, foul language comes out. So that is a totally different world. Yeah, in the club, you could say what you want, you could do what you want, you could scream into the microphone, and yeah, the crowd gets hyped up. You do that at a wedding, they look at you like, what are you doing? Or even graduation party, whatever. They're looking at you like, what are you doing? Basically, graduation party, your background music. That's all it is. Just
Mm.
play yacht rock and throw the Cupid Shuffle, Macarena, Electric Slide, and a couple other songs that are out there. Throw them in. They're happy, but you have to step back again. You know, stop trying to be the center of attention, DJs. You're not. You create the vibe for the people.
Okay, and I say the culture is totally different as well. So
Yeah.
we'll put that over here. So we got two differences. All right, now this one you're gonna go first, Mikie Mike. Audience interaction. We kind of like already talked about it. So do you have anything you want to add?
Well, this past weekend's 4th of July party, they bounced from country to heavy metal to dance to EDM, and it was just, I took everything in, and okay, it wasn't mixing in key, I wasn't following genre, you know, because I like to go, say I'm do a country set and then slowly, gradually come out of a country set and go into the next set. This was just, I was all over the place like a pinball in the pinball machine. Ding, 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 ding. Again, they're paying me. I got to do what they want to do. I can't do, I'm the professional, but this is an unorthodox party that you have people from all different cultures there, and they want to hear what they want to hear. They don't want to hear a whole country set. They don't want to hear a whole heavy metal set. You know, one or two songs here, one or two songs there, and some was just one song and over to this, you know, a country, two line dances. They came back and they wanted to hear some EDM. Then they wanted to hear some, you know, heavy metal again. It's like, okay, all right, you know, then it's a totally different vibe, you know. You have to adapt to it. You're not going to, even though you're the professional, you know what you should be playing, but they're paying it, and you can tell them, listen, you know, that's not really gonna jive. They don't care. They get this part. They were basically 3/4 of the way to the moon already. So how are you going to argue with them saying that, you know, this ain't going to really jive with it? You just play it. That's all. Again, you walk into doing a party like that, you're at their mercy. You have to do what they want you to do, and that's it, you know?
Yep, and I really can't talk about this too much. I can only talk about my experience as far as audience interaction. I know that for me, I was also an introvert, and it's one of those things when you become a mobile DJ and an open format DJ, especially in weddings, they're expecting you to be able to get on the mic and control the room, or at least make the announcements. Like, if you're the owner of the black Malibu that's blocking the driveway, we need you to move. You need to be able to do that kind of stuff. So it seemed like they want us to be more interactive. But when I go and watch like videos from UK DJs, it seems like everything is more chilled and laid back. So
Yes.
that's what I noticed.
Well, again, this party that I did this past Saturday, the family really had it so well organized. It was unbelievable. There at the one point of the night, there was probably about 400 people there. and nobody complained about parking. I didn't have to make no announcements about that. I would throw an announcement here or there, or if somebody got up dancing and it was funny, the lady who was throwing the party, the family, well, the husband and wife, hey Mike, joke with that guy. Look at him dance. Hype up the people that way. So yeah, you have again. I'm not a microphone person. I'd rather have my music doing the talking for me. But there's times that you have to do it. But again, I guess I would probably fit in with the UK DJs more than a lot of the American DJs today, because they're on the microphone continuously, and that's one of my pet peeves. When I started DJing, I was on the microphone continuously, and I was like, I'm making a fool out of myself. So now I'm like, sit back, let my music do the talking. That's all.
We all make fool of ourselves, every single one of us. We're basically court jesters. We
Yes,
really
we
are.
Yes, we are.
And it's whether the crowd really likes you or they don't. If you tell a funny joke, it may be off color for somebody else. That's how the DJing really, in my eyes, always works. You're going to get some people really, really like you, and then you're going to get some, he's all right. And then you got some that says, no, he sucks, I'm leaving. We don't want that. We really don't. This is why even when I do my mixes and everything else, I try and keep it dancey and keep it where I'll play a remix of a popular track they want, say like a Bon Jovi track, for example.
Yeah.
I'll probably play a tech house version of it, and it'll keep it uplifting. They'll know it, and they can still sing along to it, but the music's different. It's like a B-side. And I'm just trying to bring a different culture on my way of playing, and it's slowly taken off over here. It's like Friday night, I turned in Top Trails in Talladega into a mini Coachella. I mean, I was playing EDM, trance, and all that sort of stuff, and people were going wild. They loved it. And I was playing Eminem versions, playing Eminem, but, sort of like a hard house version.
Yes.
And I was sort of like, oh, yeah. And I was singing some of the lyrics, but they didn't know the music's part of it. Mm-hmm. It's like you're using stems. Now, I knew they was getting ready to pass out because, I mean, everybody was sweating. Everybody. And I dropped the vibe just slightly, brought it down and went no beats for about 30 seconds. And they turned around and looked at me as if to say, what are you doing? I said, trust the DJ. Trust the DJ. You're burning up. I got to cool you down just a little bit. I said, wait 10 seconds. And I actually had to say this over the mic because they didn't understand. Now, the culture in England, they'd understand it because it's a different way of playing. And as soon as that beat dropped, the place went up again. So you have to, this is a part of the cultural experience. And I've learned from both sides that, yeah, we can learn from each other. We love it.
Mm-hmm.
I want them sweating. If they're sweating at the end of the night, I know dang well I've done a good job.
Yes. Oh, God, yes. As I told Dwayne before, I've done Indian weddings and Indian events, and they are totally, totally different than American events. I mean, it's just, you sit back and you think the way our normal wedding goes and our normal party goes, theirs are totally opposite. They're doing all their eating and everything prior, and then it's about 40 minutes of dancing, and that's it. The wedding or the party's over. It's like, wait a second, like, what's going on here? It's you're doing everything opposite. Well, how can I say it? I messed that up. I'm sorry. They do all the dancing. And the last hour is the eating. It's like, like, why are you doing all this first and then eating last? And that's how it is. It's just it's a different culture. And as a DJ, doing one the first time, I was like, what's going on here? Like, why are they doing this now? This should be done after they get done eating. And I even went up to management. I said, what time are they eating? Looked at his watch. Well, it gets over at 10. They're eating around 9:15. I'm like, what? You know, they have a long cocktail hour, and then they have a long dance set, then boom, eat, go home. Like, wow, this is different. You know, like totally, totally different. Then I did an African wedding. That was again totally different. I had to make it a lot of announcements during that wedding, and again, but it was everything that pertained to their culture. It wasn't making announcements about, you know, joking around with somebody or this or that, or, you know, the bride's dance when her dad and bride and groom are doing their first dance together. No, it was, all right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the aunt and uncle are going to do this for Brenda and Steve. You know, it was, again, it was a totally different experience. I've experienced so many different things in the last, I would say 8 years. It's been unbelievable. Unbelievable.
All right. And so, I went first on this one. So, let's see. Audience interaction. Are they the same or different? What do you all think?
Different.
Different.
Different. Yeah,
Yes.
because I was like on the fence. So since 2 to my, regardless. All right, we're gonna put that as different. All right, now we're to Crossfire event types. So, what do you think about the event, like the types of gigs?
The types of gigs over here, the working DJs, they primarily focus on weddings. Everyone wants to do a wedding. They think it's a big ticket number. It's just not true. It really isn't. There are other events over here that I've noticed that are well paid, to be honest with you. I mean, I get more calls for corporate and charity events, or, you know, just party events in general. You know, they're more private over here. Over in England, they're more, you know, public events. It's like the bar DJs, for example, they tend to get paid a little bit more than US events, bar events. You know, we're in the third poorest state in the US, so you can't really boost your price up too much. But when you're actually doing the corporate events, the charity events, you know, they're paying because some of them are non-profit. They have to spend that money.
Yes.
I'm not saying I'm jacking up my prices. Trust me, when they do those events and the money's up there, oh, you can bet your bottom dollar I'm actually putting out a show. I'm putting out all the bells and whistles, all the lights, you know, that would actually go with that particular event. You know, whether it be tube lights, whether it be the burst lights, the black light, whether I put the big magic DJ booth out there. I'm going to be putting up the top notch. Now, when I've had calls for, we need you to DJ over here. All right, okay. You know, they say, but we pay our DJs only $150, $250 or something. I'm not your DJ, sorry. It's not happening. And I'm trying to get some of the local DJs around here and some of the karaoke guys to boost their prices. The events are not paying. Some of the smaller events are not paying. I wish they would, but you know, wish in one hand and you know what goes in the other, and see what fills up.
Yeah. Yep.
And again, I'd rather take a night off and not actually do an event for that amount of money, because by the time I get there, I've got to set up. From setting up, then I've got to play the 3-4 hours maybe. For another hour to break it down and travel back home. Is it really worth it? It's okay if you're doing it as a side gig, side hustle, you know, for a little bit of extra money, or even some of the newer inexperienced DJs that are trying to make something. Yeah, do it. But don't cut everybody else's throat. Work with each other. At least raise your prices a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So do you all deal with a lot of backstabbing and underbidding and all that, as much as they say it goes on here?
It goes on down here in Alabama, and even in England, it's not so bad. You have got them, but it's not as cutthroat as it is over here. It really isn't. I mean, over here, it's because I've got about 1,000 reviews, you know, is why I'm getting all the gigs. Well, you could have someone who's an absolute awesome DJ and everything else, because he hasn't got the reviews, he's not getting booked. I'm not that I'm chasing reviews. I'm really not. You know, I let my music do the talking, and the entertainment I push out and I do a lot of word of mouth. And it's taken a year over here to do that before I could, you know, and I've had to do a few sort of like, you know, smaller charity events to actually be able to do that. And that's a good way of actually getting in, you know, even over both sides of the pond, to actually get your name out a little bit, you know, where they'll book you. You don't have to play in the bars and clubs. They're not paying.
And so do they have a lot of festivals? Is that over in the UK? Is that where you have like the big festivals, like where you see the Skrillex and all of them?
Yeah, you see Glastonbury and some of that sort of stuff that goes on during the summer months and everything else. Yeah, it's good. I mean, some of the DJs go overseas, like I did. I went over to, you know, France, Switzerland, Belgium, Germany, Spain, Greece, all that sort of stuff for the summer months. And you get a lot of English tourists over there, and they kind of want to bring some of their dance culture. This is why we got a lot of Euro sort of stuff, because it melds in with, you know, that style.
Yeah, because I know.
So yeah, the festivals are a little different.
Yeah, because I'm going to say with the festivals, now that I think about it, after the pandemic, I don't hear or see that much of the festivals on YouTube anymore. So are they, is this still a thing?
Be honest with you, I don't think it's as much as what it used to be. The culture in England's actually changing anyway. So, I mean, people are not going out so much. The economy obviously has dropped, even over here a little. And they're not going out as much. They tend to stick with the clubs and the bars.
All right. And then what about you, Mikie Mike?
Well, my area, a lot of the bars, a lot of the clubs closed down. One of the major clubs around here is the Woodlands. They're basically operating on a skeleton crew. Before, they had a specific DJ for each night of the week when they were open, 25th hour. Now, I think they have one DJ and he just covers it, and that's it. You know, a lot of times he's not even there. He's doing it from his house and broadcasting it there, and it's just it's different. You know, it's like how could the audience interact with you, and how could you interact with the audience when you're not there physically with them? You have to, as a DJ, like I said, you gotta step back in that limelight, but you have to interact with the crowd. You have to be able to talk to them and feel them, and they can feel you. I mean, honestly, they can tell if you're in a good mood, bad mood, whatever. And again, you have to adapt to every situation, because every situation is different. Weddings is DJing a wedding is something that you really have to have a skill for it. It's an art form. You can't just play anything you want to play. You got to make sure everything is in sync. If not, the wedding's going to be a total disaster for them.
All right. So let's go back to our chart. Here we go. So as far as the event types, because I heard wedding, corporate, private, bars, festivals, and I'm assuming you all have school dances and all that over there too.
We do, but they're not as hype as what they are over here.
Okay. So I'm saying I heard the same kind of gig. So I want to say same. What do you all say?
It's a hit or miss. So yes, it can be the same for the most part. It depends on your crowd.
Okay. And then
Yes,
okay.
definitely the crowd. The crowd controls us.
All right. So
You know,
as far as the different types of events, so we all agree that it's the same,
yes,
pretty much,
yes,
Yeah.
for the most part. But how they operate is totally different, but they're still the same kind of gigs.
It's kind of middle of the road. So yeah, it's on the fence. But yeah,
Okay.
there are a lot of similarities.
All right. So the next one is technology prefaces. So what kind of? Because I just thought when I saw it, I thought we all had the same, like the same kind of DJ software. It'd be Serato, Record Box, algorithm. If it's online, you can get this worldwide. So I just assumed it would all be the same. So what have you noticed? Is there something that they're doing differently over in the UK than over in the US?
Be honest with you, I mean, the Pioneer obviously, as strange it may seem, still seems to be ranking top as far as your controllers. Your speakers vary. Everyone loves different type of speakers. What actually works with them. As far as the software goes, most of the people I know either use Record Box or Serato. It's only since I've been in the US I actually heard of virtual DJ and algorithm, all that. I was like, okay, well, I will personally stick with Pioneer, and the Record Box. I know the software. I wouldn't say I know it in and out intricately, but again, it's a learning curve like everything else. If I'm not learning as a DJ, I'm not progressing.
Right.
And as far as lighting goes, I mean, it goes again to preference, whether you want to put out a really great show or whether you don't, or whether you're just one of those that just concentrates on the music. And they'll use the house lights.
Okay.
That's fine by them. And there are bars out in England that actually have a DJ booth that do actually have their own equipment, and you can go up there, but they're bashed. They really are. I mean, they're beat. You couldn't whip a dead horse out of it.
So, do you think it's the same since you've been over in the US as far as, there's this thing going around saying you're not a real DJ if you're not DJing on turntables or CDJs or controllers. So which is the preferred thing?
That's a big thing. I mean, some DJs, old school DJ, I learned to mix on the SL1210s. Then I went over to CDs, and now I'm on digital, with the controllers. I'm just trying to move with the times. It's slightly age-old story with the new controllers right now is sync or not sync, right? To me, sync is just a tool. If you use it, you use it. If you don't, you don't. I can use it or I don't have to use it. For sort of like one of these slow nights or whatever, now and again, I'll just put sync on and just whip it over to the next track, think nothing of it. Now, if I'm actually mixing to a crowd, I won't touch it. I won't touch that sync button. So again, it goes back to whether, you know, what's comfortable with you on the time.
Okay.
It's just a tool.
All right. And Mikie Mike, are you asleep?
Mikey.
I was wondering if he was sleeping because he said he'd be looking at his phone. I hope he's okay because I know he had the thing going on with the shots and stuff.
Yeah, he did, but he looks like he's breathing, but gently.
Yeah, I wonder. Let me try this.
You got one of them air horns.
Let me, if he got his phone, let's see if I can call him on. All right, here it is. Let me see.
Poor lad. He had a busy weekend.
So it's ringing.
Is he moving?
Yeah, he's breathing. I don't know how to get in contact with anybody else. Because I know he was.
We interrupt this program for a short break because we're trying to get hold of Mikie Mike.
It's just ringing. Oh,
Mikey!
no. Let me see. Trying to think of something.
Come on, lad.
A loud sound or something. Yeah, I don't know who else is.
Mikey Mike.
Nor. Yeah, he's totally out of it. I can't.
He's gone, ain't he?
Mm-hmm. Cause I was gonna tease him. I was like, it looked like you're falling asleep over there, but I know he has said it looks like it, but he's looking at his phone. But no, he's out right now. I'm trying to.
He's out for the count. He is moving gently, but I mean, he's out. He can't stand the British. That's what it is.
Let me see.
He's thinking of all these redcoats. Dear.
Let me see.
So you like Serato then?
Yep. Let me see.
Yeah.
I wonder if this is going to be loud enough.
Moving slightly. Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know what the.
This is a first for you.
Yep. But yeah, I just want to make sure I can make sure he's okay because you know he was saying about the shots and all that the other day.
Yeah, he had to get his medication reset up, didn't he?
Yeah, so let me see, how can I? Let me see if I can.
Is his missus online?
That's why I was going to go. Go to his profile and see if there's. Profile. Friends. How can I? Followers. Let me see.
Come on, Mikey Mike. Wakey.
Is he George?
Eggs and bakey. Trying to keep it family friendly.
Maybe I'll go with one of his posts, and hopefully he tags somebody in there, so I know. This is Mikie Mike. All right. Brian Davis. Let me see if I can get in contact with him.
Well, I sure hope he's all right, no matter
Yeah.
what. I do see him moving just slightly. It's very minuscule.
What's this?
Well, viewers, smoke them if you got them.
Yeah. Let me see. Can't get through this person. Let me try. See who. Oh, let me try this person. Seemed like he had just did her party.
In other news, guys, just
Yep.
say no.
Let's see.
I'm going to feel bad if something's wrong. I'm going to feel real bad.
So I can't get in touch. Let me. Buddy knows a lot of people. Let me call Buddy. Let's see.
I'm going to feel real bad if something's wrong.
Yeah, cause Buddy.
Well, he did a gig this morning, so I
Yeah.
mean, so I'm pretty sure he's shattered.
Yeah, I hope so. It was just a fact of what happened the other day. I was just. Hey, Buddy, this is Dwayne. We're online and Mikie Mike. I'm hoping he just sleep, but he's not responsive, and we're trying to get in contact with somebody to go check on him. Yeah, I was trying to go through his posts and see, you know how you tag people, but I'm not friends with them, so my call won't go through. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I wanted to make sure because he said, because he had, you know, with his back and stuff, and he had the heart, like his heartbeat, because he went to the ER the other day. So I just. Uh,
So as we're live and everything else, comment in chat what you want to talk about and everything else. If you like the idea of what Dwayne does here, Mikie Mike, cue it up. You know, give us a topic. I'll come back on the show. Hey, even if you don't like me, I don't care. Just have some fun. Enjoy yourself. We do. We just chat about whatever we got going on. Just trying to take care of DJ Mikie Mike right about now. He had a gig this morning, this afternoon, and he looks like he's a little tired. No, he's up. He's awake. He's awake. He's moving. DJ Mikie Mike, you crashed out, man.
No, my throat all day today's been like, I don't know, like tickling. I think it's from those shots that I got in my back, and it's like certain times I take a deep breath and it's whoa, wait a second here, and it's get like a little feathery feeling in my throat, and oh my God,
You drink water, mate.
it got me a soda. I don't drink water. I just, it has to be ice cold, like right out of the freezer.
Oh no. I could drink room temperature water, mate.
Really? See, up here, northeastern PA, the tap water, there's certain times of the day it's delightful to drink. And there's times that you could just smell the chlorine, all the other chemicals that they're putting in it. So we relate to buying bottled water, and I don't know, bottled water just does not taste the same as good spring water, even good tap water, but just since I got those shots 2 days ago, oh my God.
Mate, I tell you, why don't you go back out to the faucet out there and start drinking out the hose pipe like we used to when we was kids?
Oh, you know what? That was the best way. We have an area not too far from here, and you used to be able to go up there and fill up your gallons that you want to fill up. Most people went up to a local farm which sold glass half-gallon jugs, and you take it back to get a new half a gallon of milk, and you got money after that new half a gallon. But they kept that half gallon for their water, and then they would go up to this local spring, and you could drink right from it or fill up your water bottles. That's it, and that was the way to go. Today, you can't do it no more. You can do it, but there's only certain hours, and you can only fill up so much. It's free, but they don't want people hogging it up. Well, you're not hot. There's no possibility you can take all the water out of there. It's flowing every minute of the day,
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Anyway, let's get back on track. Let Dwayne do his
So,
thing.
are you okay? Or do you?
Yeah, just ever since I got those shots yesterday, my pulse rate was sky high. Now today, thank God I didn't have to be on the microphone. Just coughing and oh.
Yep. I was going to say, put your number or phone number in the chat, in the Zoom chat, because you had me scared for a second, because I remember what you had said happened the other day, and then when you wasn't responsive, we were making a bunch of noise. I've been trying to call people, and just like we didn't know what to do.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah,
hey, as old folk, we gotta look after ourselves.
Yeah, my pulse rate yesterday was sky high, and got to the hospital, and then they got it back down, and now today it's a tickle in the throat. And I talked to a person that was at this party today, and one of their relatives gets the shots in their back too. It's a steroid and other medication, and they have basically the same reactions as me, the high pulse rate. And then what? The day after it, you feel a lot better because your pulse rate has come down. Like I keep checking my pulse rate today. The highest I got was like 88, which wasn't bad because it's usually low. Yesterday, it was sky high. Even after going to the hospital, it was just like, oh man, it just wears you out because you could feel this. You feel like you're jumping out of your skin. Again, I'm sorry about that little disturbance there. That's not me. I'm usually.
And so Buddy had joined us, and he said beans and hot dogs, not toast, and he started laughing.
Beans on toast is an English breakfast. We can do that all day long. It's a great snack.
Beans and wieners are the best with a can of stewed tomatoes in them.
All right, so we're finishing up with technologies. So it sounds like we all, with the technology thing, we're pretty much the same.
We're pretty much similar. I mean, obviously there's a couple more. Obviously there's more options over here, it seems, but I think the English have actually adopted some of them. Virtual DJs has taken off more than what I expected over in England, because some of these bars actually have TV screens, and sometimes they like to play the music to the videos.
Yeah. Well, since I guess I missed that section, I started with Serato, loved it. Switched over to virtual DJ because I was into karaoke. Now I don't want nothing to do with karaoke. It just got to be too annoying. And virtual DJ, I stuck with that because your boot time with Serato, especially being a wedding DJ, I have 3 external hard drives. Actually, I just added a 4th one. And if Serato goes down, you're stuck. You're down for maybe a half hour sometimes. Even getting to a venue and plugging everything in to get the show going, you're there. Like with me, if I was using Serato, I would be there an hour and a half early, still waiting for my drives to boot up. I don't know. Virtual DJ is just so much easier for me. That I love it. And then I also have DJ on my little iPad. Or not iPad, it's a Fire tab. I listened to Brian S. Red and did what he did with his. Excellent for ceremonies. And then if you have something happen, boom, you have that to back you right up at a ceremony, at a reception, or even at a party. You have another option. But I always carry 2 computers with me, basically 2 Macs, and I love both of them. But virtual DJ, definitely all the way.
All right. So let's speed through the rest of these so you don't fall asleep on us again. No, so that was so scary. At first it was funny, but then when you stop responding, that became real scary.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry about that. It's just I guess after your pulse rate's beating so hard, and then the next day it's just like your body's starting to come down, but then this tickle in my throat. Honestly, all day today, I'm like, oh my God, like, what the heck's going on? And
okay, we're going to make a new law. For every time you DJ, you take a mandatory 12 hours off.
Well, it was funny. My future son-in-law came over yesterday, and he's like, what's wrong with your voice? I'm like, man, it was like totally different than what my normal voice is. And even is. Yeah, it's like a raspy sound to it, and that ain't me. I'm usually a higher tone voice, that I don't know. These shots do something to you. I don't think it's the DJing. It's just these shots really mess your body up because you're. Yep,
I felt like Halle Berry in that movie where she was a dispatcher trying to call people to try to get to you.
Yes.
See, LaRuckus finally joined us too.
I watched the video now, and it's like, there's my head,
Because at first I thought you was looking at your phone. I was like, he says he's normally looking at his phone, so I didn't.
Matter of fact, I was looking at my phone because my daughter was texting me before, and I kept on looking down. She was gone away for a week on vacation, and she was texting me all this stuff. I'm like, no, I got to put my phone over. And that was it. Prior to that, I was looking at my phone, and now I'm looking at the video. Yeah, okay, 2 minutes early, or we're 2 minutes on delay, and yeah, it's just, yeah, man.
I didn't know what to do.
Sticker,
All right. So the next question is branding style. Are our branding styles the same over here in the U.S. as it is in the UK?
Far from it. I mean, everything over here is about branding. You got to have a logo. You got to have merch. You got to have, you got to have the latest keychain or something to do with a certain DJ. Oh, give them out as freebies and all that. But over in England, we don't do that. I mean, we could just put up something on Facebook, for example, say, this is sort of like XYZ Entertainment for your next event, give us a call. That's pretty much it. But over here, you got to have a logo. You got to have all the, T-shirts. You got to wear a T-shirt with your own name on it. It's like you're working at a factory sometimes. It's ridiculous. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've got shirts that I wear, to, meet clients and such with my business logo on. That's just how it works sometimes. But if you haven't got that, you haven't got the, oh, this is the clean image you need and everything else. We don't trust you if you just turn up in jeans and t-shirt type thing. No, you got, it's ridiculous how much branding there is over here as DJs.
Hmm. And for those that just joined us, as we're having our discussions, we're going through and putting down what we're talking about. Do we have the U.S. DJs and the UK DJs the same or different? So we're talking about branding. So in the chat, since I know that we're on a minute to 2 minute delay, so if you can put in your chat so you can weigh in on the discussion as well. Put down whether you think the branding styles are the same or different. And what are we on? 5, 6. Yeah, I wouldn't say US DJs like put their names on everything, or yeah, I don't know too many DJs that do that, because see, I don't know, maybe it's because if I didn't, I wouldn't know who I was. I don't do all that extra branded.
I am not saying I've got flags on my wall of my company or anything else. I'm not saying I got that, business cards, air fresheners as well that I use. I just put that one out there for a bit of a gimmick to say, look for something fresh.
Mm-hmm.
Your business details on an air freshener. I mean, and just give them out occasionally. It's just out of the box thinking that I'm trying to do over here to try and one up you guys over here.
Mm-hmm.
It's different.
Yeah, I have to because if I don't do that, I won't feel important. So I have to put my name on everything.
I don't want to be important. I want the customers to be important. There you go. There's the fundamental difference. We let the customers be important.
Yes. Yes.
I'm no superstar DJ. I'm a working DJ.
So what about you, Mikie Mike?
Honestly, I haven't put anything out with branding on. I have my business card. That's it. I know a lot of other DJs in my local area. They are completely branded. The one gentleman, he has his initials, but they're in glasses. Another friend of mine, he goes by a certain name, and he has a certain musical instrument that his name goes into. I mean, to me, and he gives away T-shirts, he gives away pens, he gives away beer koozies, this, that. That's not me. To me, you're trying to not impress the customer, but you're trying to buy them, saying, hey, no matter how bad I am, you're going to get something off me, or I'm going to give your guest something. It's, to me, that's not being a good DJ. It just, don't get me wrong. I mean, it is nice to have a certain branding. If you come up with a unique name, whatever, yes, that's nice, but don't be, oh, my one buddy, he sells slippers, coffee mugs, he sells everything. It's like, what are you doing? You're not some superstar DJ. You're just DJ, I'll say DJ Jomo, and it's like, why are you trying to do all this other crazy stuff? And the sad thing is, he's selling all this stuff and he didn't know he had to pay taxes on it. I said, dude, you didn't pay no taxes on this stuff? No, I didn't know you had to. I'm like, yeah, you're selling merchandise, you got to pay taxes on it. And they did catch up to him. And it's sad. You could give the stuff away for free, sure, but at the end of the year, you're gonna write it off as a loss. So you're still making out on it. But again, branding, selling stuff, giving stuff away, now, that's not me. It may fit for some other DJ. I'm more or less like the UK DJ. I'd rather have them see me for what I am, not by what my brand is. I'm giving this out or giving that out. No, 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 no. I'll step back. I was going to try it. I never did, and I'm glad I did it.
So I guess I came from because remember I backed into being a DJ because I was more so of a musician, entertainer, and trying to do the beats and like the mixtapes. So branding and all that was part of your image. So I guess that migrated into me DJing as well. But I'm not like the ones that's all out front like that when I DJ though.
Yeah. Now, for a band, I'll say, yeah, it's great. Give out T-shirts with your name on it. Even if you're just a local band that's a cover band, you're going to be here, here, here. You're going to have, yeah, usually a local cover band has their dates fixed by I'm going to say late November of the year. And then they'll say, all right, we're doing 28 dates next year. Here's our schedule. And they put a T-shirt with their logo on the front and where they're going to be at. And sure, they may pick up some gigs in between there, but that's a nice gesture there. A band is different than a DJ. Remember, we are playing music created by somebody else. They're doing the same thing, but they're using instruments and they're putting their own twist on to that music. We're not, yeah, we can manipulate it, do different things with our controllers, but they're creating something completely different than what we are.
Not unless you one of those DJ artists kind of people.
Well,
let me ask you something, Mikie Mike.
Yes.
Do you consider your controller your instrument?
Well, yes and no. To me, how can I say, it's not the controller, it's not the computer, it's the person that's controlling that and manipulating it by yourself. So
you are, but you need the tools to actually do it. I mean, you couldn't be up as a band or anything else without a guitar, which is actually a tool, is what we're using.
Well, a guitar, I mean, a friend of mine, him and his wife are a duo, and he plays a drum / I don't know how they create their stuff, but they just have, and she sings. She has nothing in her hands. She doesn't do nothing except for sing. And he only has like a little, I want to say a drum kit, but everything is run off that, like a guitar beat, this, that, bass, everything. But as for a DJ, yeah, your controller is somewhat of an instrument, but we have to know how to manipulate that instrument. Same as a drummist or a guitarist. Yeah, you have to know how to play that instrument. But again, we're duplicating something that somebody has already recorded, and 99.9% of my gigs, they don't want to hear something that I'm really mashing up bad. And well, in my ears, it may sound great. They want to hear the song that was created by that artist. That's what they want.
This is why I tend to use a lot of remixes and everything else of the artists they know.
Yes.
Whether it be a disco version of, for example, Steppenwolf. It's possible. There are stuff that people have done out there that's manipulated stuff, and they've tried and they've succeeded, and they've tried and failed. But even so, they're still trying it to give the customer something they know, but something they don't at the same time.
I had one steady customer for years, and the one thing they told me, no remixes at all. We want to hear the original song. I'm like, like, okay, but I think this remix fits a little better than the original song. It's going to fit into your party, but nope, we don't want that, Mike. We just want the straight song. That's it. I'm like, hey, you're my boss.
Some people are purists.
Excuse me? I didn't hear that one.
I say some people are just purists, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind playing for purists either. It's just that if you're putting a, you need to be true to yourself. I mean, there's plenty of different DJs got plenty of different stuff to bring to the table, and they've actually booked you for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
They've booked you for your style, and
Yes.
if we can actually turn around and personalize our style to what the customer likes, they're going to book us every time. Now, you're going to get a few out there. You're going to please some people. You're not going to please everyone.
No,
You know,
there's no
and
possible way you could do that.
no, you can't. And I wish that we could, and we could come together that way. But this is why I like the difference between the US and the English.
Mhm.
For example, I've learned from both sides of the world, and many places in Europe, obviously. But I enjoy the challenge to go with it because it makes me think. It keeps me on my toes. And I do believe that even some of the US DJs could actually learn from some of the British DJs in certain aspects.
Yes.
Like we
Yes.
said, put a curtain up and everything else and just play.
Mm-hmm. I
You
mean,
know,
today you have a lot of DJs saying, you got a quick mix. You got a quick mix from right from the get-go. Get these people hyped up. And
we
then,
got too much ADHD over in the US.
yeah, I mean, I watch some videos on YouTube and I see these people. So they have people recording them how they're mixing and everything, and they're turning the knobs and boom, with their vinyl or boom with their platter. And then all of a sudden they didn't edit the video the right way, and you see the weird reaction by the people, and they just try to look at the DJ like, what are you doing? Like we're just into that song now, you're out of that song, and then you come back into that previous song. It's like they just, the audience, the guests, they're just blown away. You know, they look at the DJ like, okay, you're here, you're showing off for what you, yeah, you do what you do and you do it great, but we're not here for that. We're here for so and so's wedding or so and so's event. We want to hear the song, not you showing off. It's sad, but that's how some DJs make their money, and believe me, they're making really good money at it. But then you look at some of the videos and then you see some of the reactions from the people, especially if the video wasn't edited the correct way, because sometimes they'll edit it. Everybody's smiling, having a good time, but they're not showing that little down point in between the transition from one song to the other. And I heard one DJ, he goes, boom, boom, 20, 30 minutes, 20, 30 seconds of the song, I'm out. I mean, playing 500-600 songs in a 4 or 5 hour sets. Like, how are you doing that? And basically every client I have, they ask me, please, no quick mixing. We don't want that. If we want to hear a shortened version of the song, we'll let you know. Otherwise, we want to hear a song from point A to point Z. But you can't do that either, because you may have some that has a long outro. You may have something that's a long intro. So you got to shorten it up somewhere. And I think, you shorten up the outro or shorten up the intro. You have to, because if not, it's just a very repetitious. But again, some clients want to hear that. It's just, why get me out of this song already?
Hey, Mikey Mike,
Yes.
we got a lot to get through, mate. Yeah,
Yeah, after you took that
we got a
nap.
lot to get through.
I know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was
I know
going to
it's
say
keeping you up.
my approach is a little bit different. I don't, to me, I guess I have ADHD as far as the musical sense, because I get bored playing the same song from beginning to end. I try to either find a remix to make it more livelier, but when I do a remix, I don't play a remix where it so totally changed the whole identity of the song, because there's some songs you can remix it and it don't even have the same kind of feel. My
Yes.
blends and stuff, I try to either do it live or I try to add something creative to it, so almost like a performer thing. So I think if you do that and do it tastefully, that's one thing as opposed to being overbearing and then, changing the whole flow. My whole thing is to try to keep a vibe on the dance floor and also play the same song but play it differently to make them go have that reaction. So that's where all my, like when I do the song requests, that's all where all my song requests come from. It's not coming from me not playing songs that they like. It's about me playing a song or playing a certain way that sparks like, oh yeah, do you know this song? And then that's when that comes in, and that's when the party takes off.
Yes. I mean, I will shorten up music and I will throw a song in and people are like, oh my God, I haven't heard this song in years, and it's boom, they're still on the dance floor. But I'm talking about these other DJs that are just cutting in, like playing 20, 30 seconds of the song, they're boom into another song, then boom into another song, then boom into another. It's like the people don't know what the heck they're doing on the dance floor. It's like you gotta slowly do that. You can't play 30 seconds of a song and then just drop it out and drop in another song. Well, they're doing it, but it's just, I don't know. To me, that's wrong. You know,
pissing off grandma and grandpa that took them a minute to come to the dance floor. And you changed it.
One thing grandpa and grandma over here is not speaking on a mic. If you ain't doing it, they're going to come up and grab you.
Uh-huh.
You're playing It's a Wonderful World, and all of a sudden you're dropping Eminem or something. They're like, oh, we just got to the dance floor. Now, what's this song,
Uh-huh. Let's get to the chat. And LaRuckus says, O's free ad. I am O, in my opinion, I guess. Don't look like a NASCAR driver. That's Buddy. And then LaRuckus says, I only wear a polo with my business name, and that's all. Then Buddy went on to say, I'm going to start selling soup that smells like music, and it's probably going to cost like $100, $200, something super expensive. He's got to come up with one of those fancy names for it too.
Hey, he's going to sell espresso behind his DJ booth. That's what he's going to do.
He's going to have a designer cup too,
They want to make the event about themselves. Yep.
Yes.
And LaRuckus went on, that was Buddy, and then LaRuckus went on to say, that's why you talk to your client first regarding the music and the style. There is an audience for everything. Just got to make sure you know what they want and expect it of you. Yep. Exactly.
Hey, you know what? Every section of our country is different. Last week I talked on the show. I had a show at a country town, which I thought was going to be all country music. I walk in and they didn't give me no playlist. They just loved the way I played because they see me at different events. But I walk in, I'm set for country because it's a little country bar. And I walk in, they just want to hear hardcore rap. I'm like, am I in the wrong place? This ain't right. I'm in this country bar and you want to hear hardcore rap? Yeah, that's all we like. I'm like, okay, here we go. I had it. I covered it. But it just took me by surprise,
Mm-hmm. All right, so with this one, branding and style, do we all agree that our style is different?
Completely different.
Oh, yes, definitely different.
And we kind of talked about the rest of these. Like as far as streaming, do you see a difference? I thought it was pretty much just like with the technology stuff. If it's on the internet, then I thought everybody used it. Like Spotify, YouTube, Mixcloud, that kind of stuff.
We never use YouTube and I never stream. I mean, if people haven't got it now, if people want a particular track right quick, I'll download it right quick from, because I'll hook up with Wi-Fi to my laptop. I'll download it right quick. And while I'm in between the next track or maybe a little bit later on, and then I'll pop it on. Because there's no way that I'm going to use live streaming, to do my music. I'm not going to use Beatport. I'm not going to use some of these streaming services. I got to actually own the music,
Right.
you know, of actually have it beforehand. Last thing I want is a Wi-Fi to go down and, you know, I have nothing.
Yes. Yeah, I agree 1000% there. And depending where you're DJing, like I do a lot of school dances also. Dwayne does too. And you know what? You're going to school, they have a mesh network set up. Even creating a hotspot on your phone isn't guaranteeing you that you're going to get internet access. Now, Dwayne, he was a school teacher in his school, so I know he has a little in there so he could get access to the internet. But
To a point,
says
remember, to a point, but still with the internet, they still got to put a block on it because the kids get on there and do
Yes.
a lot of dumb stuff.
oh God, yeah. But to stream music continuously, no. And I just watched a gentleman, he was from the UK, and he was talking about DJ starting out in the business. And he said, you know, you don't have to go out and spend $1,000 on a controller. You don't have to buy this Mac or gaming laptop or anything. He said he spent $80 on a laptop. He spent less than $100 on his controller because he bought it used. And he said, as for music, I'm going to tell you first and foremost, he said, just download all your music from YouTube. He said, honestly, nobody's going to tell the difference because there's other programs you can run the music through, and it'll sound just as good as you bought it from a, say, promo only. I'm like, well,
Every
that's
every person in the US is a DJ these days. So I
well, no,
mean,
this
every
guy
other
was
person.
this guy was from the UK.
But
But
you know, these guys, they turn around. If you're actually a DJ and you go to one of these places that use YouTube music or ripping off certain places, we're going to tell the difference.
oh yeah,
You know?
definitely.
But you know, the average person who doesn't, or is not in the industry, they won't know.
No, exactly. And but this guy was from the UK, and he's talking about this. I'm like, even just starting off, you don't want to rip off the music off of YouTube. You want to get the music, own it, pay for it, have it for yourself. Even if you have to go out and buy the CDs, go out. You know, you go to a thrift shop and you find a ton of CDs that are there, and you could download them into your computer. Today, with the way the systems are changing, like the programs with Serato, with Virtual DJ, with every program, they're requiring more and more out of each computer. There's no way you could buy a used computer for $80 and say, "Wow, I got a great computer." Blah blah blah. I did a Roaring Twenties party, and I picked it up from another DJ, and I asked myself, "What do you play?" He said, "Well, Mike, get do one or two songs of Roaring Twenties, and you come back to today's music." So I'm like, "All right, no problem." He gave me a list of music, got all the music. He actually had 90% of it. Then the lady holding the event comes upstairs to me. It was at the Stegmeyer Mansion, and she had about 60 CDs with her. And I looked at her and said, "Okay, what do you want me to do with them?" She says, "Can you play them?" I had the song number that we want played. I said, "My MacBook does not have CDs in it." She says, "Well, do you have any other way?" I said, "I have my PC." At that time, I took my PC as my backup. I said, "That's a gaming laptop. That also doesn't have a DVD or CD player in it either." She said, "Oh my God, we want this music and this and that." So I looked on promo only. They had nothing. Unfortunately, that night, I did have to rip them off of YouTube because that was the only place I could find this music. And I'm going to download it. I ran to another program and I got it off for them. But again, lack of communication. I picked this job up off another DJ and he gave me the information of one sense. But then again, this Roaring Twenties Club went through transformation. They went from one president over to a different president. The other president one or two songs from the Roaring Twenties and 3 or 4 songs from present day. Then go back to one or two songs from Roaring Twenties and back to present day music. And that's what this DJ was used to. I was geared up to be that way, but no, it wasn't. She wanted everything from the start of the night to the end of the night, Roaring Twenties. And I don't know if you ever did one of those parties. They are amazing. The way these people dance, and you look at them, and you say, "Wow, they're in their 70s and 80s doing these dances." Yes, there are a few younger couples there, but the majority of them are 70, 80 years old, and they dance like just like the people in the Roaring Twenties did back in that era. It was truly, truly amazing.
All right. And let's go back to our chart real quick. So with the streaming services, do you think that we're the same or different as far as availability? Not saying that we stream, we stream all of our sets. I mean, as far as what's out there as far as the resources.
As far as resources, I believe the US uses a lot more streaming service than what the UK does, even though the UK, when they're playing on Twitch, for example, they'll use the streaming service. It's because they're in their own home, they know their own internet, Wi-Fi, whatever, and they can rely on it. But as far as the outside gigs, most working DJs will actually use what they've actually downloaded prior.
All right. So you're saying different.
I'm saying, yeah, it's different.
Okay. Then what about you, Mike?
I would say definitely different. America, it's all about streaming. Everything is about streaming. But they're not taking into consideration where some DJs have to DJ at, and you don't have access to the internet. You could even ask the venue, "Hey, can I have access?" Okay, yeah, you have guest access, but you're in a venue that might be a hotel. There might be 300 guests there, so that internet speed is like a snail. And somebody comes up and asks you for a song, yeah, I can get it for you, but it's gonna take a long while. So, want to listen to something else, if you don't mind, so that you have by the same artist, So, nine times out of 10, they will go over to that. But streaming, no, there's too much streaming in the United States. I don't agree with it. Not at all.
And then LaRucka said, if you're starting, YouTube is the way to go as long as you progress from that into good quality music later on in your career. We all start from the ground up. And I think if you're talking about the same person, I'm thinking you're talking about DJ CB, because I remember he said that before the pandemic. But now it's like you don't even have to like rip from YouTube anymore because it's built in, like Tidal is built into like your cell phone. So you really don't even have to do all of that now. That goes back to the guy that Cool Thing had got into it about DJing from his phone and streaming.
This was a video that was just released this past week, and I was shocked to hear this DJ because I do follow him, and some people were questioning him about, starting up a DJ business, what to do, how to do it, what you need, what you don't need, and his whole thing was download your music from YouTube. You're not getting paid for the gig. Download the music, and then in the future, if you do get into DJing, keep that music because you can still play it. If you download it, fine, but it's not going to sound as good as music that you buy from promo only or from other streaming places that allow you to purchase the music. If you run through a couple different programs, you can get some of the other stuff out of there, and then it'll sound halfway decent. But if you're stuck, if you're really in a pinch that you don't have it, and the only other way you can do is get it from YouTube, I will forgive you for that.
I would forgive those who use SoundCloud or something like that. But YouTube, no, I can't forgive that. That's no.
Yeah, I understand, but then some people don't have SoundCloud. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's you're stuck between a rock and a hard place. You know, some people are just so prone, just it's easier to go to YouTube and boom, you know,
Hmm.
because what YouTube is, you could also put in radio edit, and you're getting a truly radio edit version as compared to SoundCloud. That person uploaded could put radio edit. You use it and it's not radio edit. It's like, oh, wait, I did something wrong here, you know. So you gotta be prepared for what you're going to be throwing out there. Put your headphones on and listen to it, and okay, yeah, it is clear. Send it out now, you know. But otherwise, I hate to say it, I don't do it. But if you can't get it, the only other choices you have YouTube. Like today, doing that gig, I had a few of the younger. Well, it was basically a younger crowd, but they love Hispanic music, and there was two songs that they requested. I didn't have them, but I had other songs by the artists, and I asked them, you know, kindly. I said, you know, I don't have that song, but it's on YouTube. I said, yeah, but I don't download from YouTube. If I don't have it, I really can't play that. You want to hear something else from that artist? Okay, yeah, no problem. So they were satisfied. They heard something by that artist that they liked.
Hmm. And then that brings us to LaRucka says streaming should be a backup option only. Buddy went on to say never use YouTube for music. It's not professional level sound. It's not a licensed source for DJs. And then Buddy also went on to say promo only is the way to go, which lead us into our next question or our next topic, which is licensing and legal. And this is something I did. I saw it when I was prepping for the show, but then you had brought it up the other day that I didn't think they really did because they never. I've heard about it in the United States, but I never actually seen or heard of somebody get hit. So,
Everything over in England is licensed. It's an old meme. You've probably seen them on on these Facebook TikToks of that dog side eyeing you saying you got a license for that. Everything's licensed over there. You got to be pat tested for your equipment to make sure everything's safe. You know, you got to have a DJ license to actually turn around and say, oh yeah, I'm a DJ and I'm paying certain royalties or whatever to the company. So everything over in England is actually licensed. Over here, they're a bit more lax on it. If you get music from like DJ City, Mashup UK or whatever, you're still owning part of that, but it's not as regulated as what it is over here.
mm-hmm.
It really isn't. As long as you got your county license, your state your city license or whatever, and your business license, if you are actually doing it full time, then yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. But over in England, yeah, you got license for that, and it's a running joke.
Okay. Now let's get to Mikie Mike because his head is nodding again. I can't.
No,
I
I'm
can't.
listening.
I can't. I'm sorry
No,
because once he gets to a certain point, I'm thinking that he's gonna go out again.
No, I'm listening to everything that Crossfire is saying, and you know, here in the U.S., it's like there's so much music that's out there, and honestly, 22 years of DJing, and I've known all these other DJs that were DJing before me. Never have I heard anybody getting hit up for using a song. You know, it's just the U.S. is totally different in certain aspects of DJing. It's unbelievable. But the one place you will get hit up is if you drop something on YouTube or you drop something on Facebook. Boom, they're knocking out for copyrights. You know, so it's you got to watch for certain things. But it's Here in the U.S. is different than the U.K. Totally different.
Most definitely. You got to get gear tested, license, and everything else. I mean, it can be horrendous.
Yeah. See, the U.S. is like in the intro. You got a laptop, you're a DJ, because there's going back to that specific DJ I just mentioned about using YouTube. He even told the people that you don't even need a controller. Just buy a laptop. You could use Serato Lite, or you could use virtual DJ, virtual DJ. Virtual DJ, you could use it without a controller, but once you put a controller into your computer, that's when you have to buy a license. Serato Lite, you could use a controller and they're not going to charge you. So again, there's pros and cons with that. Again, you're buying a laptop. Oh, I'm a DJ. You're buying a DSLR camera or a mirrorless camera. I'm a photographer, not knowing really what that equipment can do for you, but you're considering yourself a photographer. You're considering yourself a DJ. Just because you own a drum kit, you bang away a little bit on it. Are you a drummer? No. So it's just U.S. is too it's a different from the UK to the US on that. Totally different.
Yeah, it reminds me back in the 80s and 90s, everyone that got a pair of Jordans and the Jordan suit and had a basketball in their hand, they thought they could hoop. That's what that story sounded like.
Yep.
And then, because I was going to say licensing, also, most of the places that we play at or DJ at, most of them have like, was it the ASCAP or BMI licensing thing where they pay the people. But I know like Cool Thing had mentioned something about when he had DJ'd at Sam's Corner, where they kind of like got in trouble because he was DJing as opposed to them using the jukebox there that they were renting out. So that's the only time I heard of somebody getting in trouble. So
there was a gentleman who DJ'd at a local VFW, and he almost ran into the same problem as that. But the VFW said, listen, we shut down the jukebox at this time, like a half hour before the DJ came on. So then there was no confusion. The music wasn't coming from the jukebox, and they couldn't force the establishment to use the jukebox. They had the right to shut it off and on, so they chose to shut off. So we're having a DJ,
And then our official timekeeper says hour 2 is now in the books, but we had that little delay. It's almost like playing baseball. We had that rain delay. Then Loretta says there is no copyright police here in the U.S. At a private event, no one cares about licensing of music. Except for Prince. Prince did.
The general public, they don't. But you got the Nazis out there and everything else. They want to tag you for everything.
Yep.
Well, even if you buy that CD, actually, you rip it into your computer and put it on your external hard drive. Even though you paid for that CD, it doesn't give you the right to go out and use that music to make money for yourself off of. No. That's one of the things I was told. Even though you purchased the CD, it's still not your music. You're not supposed to be able to use that to DJ. You're supposed to actually pay a royalty fee.
Yeah, that's just like at school when schools play Disney movies and they want to charge. That's like a no that can get them in trouble too.
Yes. Me working in the printing industry, prior to becoming disabled, we were doing Disney books, and they sent people up right from Walt Disney World, and they watched every process of that book being made from pre-press right through the end of the bindery. Once the books were cut down, they were put in the Disney boxes and into the book, into the tractor trailers that they had, and it said Disney on it. If there was any scrapbooks or, we made extra, because we always had to print extra if they said, well, okay, we're having a 45,000 run. Well, we'd print 5,000 extra books. They took the extra books and destroyed them. We weren't even allowed to destroy them. Is we had not an incinerator but a shredder at work. No, nope, they're going with us. Boom. So it was like, oh Jesus, man, these guys are really, really tight. Disney's unbelievable.
All right, so we all agree that the licensing and legal part is different.
Most definitely.
Yes.
All right, and then let's go on to the next one, set structure, because we kind of like already talked about this one, about quick mixing and then playing more so a vibe. So what would you? We're gonna say that's different.
I say that's different. I like to play. I mean, I thrive when there's chaos.
Mm.
I mean, if people want to throw different tracks at me that's technically not on a playlist, I know that I've got something that'll go with it.
Mm-hmm.
Or that particular track. I want to play on the fly. It entertains me as such. Even though we're working DJs, we still have to be entertained ourselves to a certain point. We got proof that we're showing that we love what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Now, go back to your weddings. Oh, I've got to have a playlist. I've got to have this. I've got to have that. Sometimes a shot in the dark is actually worth more, and you have a lot more fun. Let's go wild.
But you play more than 20 seconds or 30 seconds of the song, though.
Oh no, I definitely play. I don't do that. I mean, if I'm watching a crowd while I'm actually trying to mix, if I can see them starting to drop off, if I know that they're getting hot, then I know they're going for a drink. Now, if I know that they're not overly exhausted, then I'll change it out.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because you can always feel the vibe or even hear the vibe when they're actually singing along with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the difference. I don't know. That's just how I play.
Okay, so let's go on to the next one. Speeding right through. And the next one is income potential as a mobile DJ. Because we kind of like touched on this one too.
Yeah. I mean, wedding DJs over in England, they don't make as much as what they do over here. Far from it. I mean, we're getting paid about a third of what you guys are getting paid.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the average wedding ticket over here for the normal working DJ, not the high price DJs, obviously. Mm-hmm. I mean, 1,500, 1,200. Working DJs over in England, they get paid a lot less. I mean, they're getting about a third to half of that. So there's more earning potential over in the US, even though every other person over in the US seems to be wanting to be a DJ.
Mm. All right. So what do you have to say, Mikie Mike?
Well, I always base a DJ on the years of experience that they have, and the more years of experience they have, they should be a better DJ, and some aren't. But then you get some of these guys that I know one in particular. Daddy's really rich. Daddy buys him all his toys that he needs to become a DJ, and buying him enough equipment that he could have 4 DJs working for him. Mm. And the prices that he charges are outrageous. And he's only been in the business 7 years, and that includes the 2 years of COVID. So he's actually been only DJing for 5 years, but he has all the little bells and whistles that make the room jingle jangle. I always say the one saying I always say is, all that glitters is not gold. Take the DJ that's a working DJ that knows how to read the crowd. He's the one who's going to get the job done. I was doing this one wedding, and it was such a great night, and everybody's singing, they were dancing, if they weren't on the dance floor, they were at their table, they're singing. So the bride and groom came up and they said, man, we need a good song, like a good sing-along song. So, everybody, Billy Joel, da-da-da. And I said, this really isn't a sing-along song, but how if I throw this on? They're like, what song is it? I said, thank you for being a friend. They're like, never heard of that before. I said, you never
Oh, the
heard of
Golden
that?
Girls?
No, this is from the 70s, actually, the song. And when I threw it on, these people that were sitting now were up on the dance floor dancing, and I was like, the bride and groom, like, oh my God, Mike, we never heard of that song. They were just totally amazed by it, and then they went out on the dance floor right with the guests. So that's a working DJ. He knows how to read the crowd. He knows what to do, what to play to get those people really more interactive in what's going on that night,
Yep, La Ruckus and everybody, they like your T-shirt, beans on toast.
I thought he would just have a wiener with a bun on his. No onions.
Hey, I'm no wiener. I'm no Oscar Mayer. Come on now.
All right, so you say it's a difference between.
There's a difference between the earning potentials of a UK DJ and the US DJ.
Yeah.
Now, if they're going overseas, then their earning potential goes up.
Mm-hmm. Let me make a quick copy so I can bring that over. So it looked like I guess the core of DJing, as far as the skill and everything, we're pretty much the same. We put on a song, play the song. Either you scratch it, play the whole song, fade in, out, but basically we all the same. But there's a big difference in mindset and our approach, though, if you look at this list. So also, while I was doing this one, I threw this question out to the DJ help desk. Let me close all these things. Boom, boom, and boom. And I asked, US versus UK DJs, are our DJ styles and mindset more alike or different? And this is what they said. Let me make that big. So pretty much they almost said the same thing that we had said. It's just I didn't get any responses as far as technology, branding, or streaming. Let's see specifically what did they say. All right, for popular music genres, Tony has said UK charts lean more towards dance, R&B, house as pop music. US charts favor hip-hop, rap, and country. Then as far as the club culture goes, Tony and Brian Red said the UK clubs focus more on vibe and underground, whereas US clubs lean hype and bottle service. The audience, as far as audience interaction, the US DJs uses the mic more, which that's what we said too, and UK DJs tend to use radio style talkovers and intros if they say anything. That came from Brian. So I guess you all like to introduce the songs. Now next playing we have a song for.
Yeah, sometimes we do. It's just to say that we are here. That's it.
Okay. And then as far as event types, Dennis has said both doing weddings and mobile events. All right, so we both do weddings and mobile events, but the core goal is to make people dance, have fun, and succeed. As far as tech goes, Jason has said UK DJs mix by key and structure, and US DJs do more mashups and fast transitions. As far as set structure goes, Jason went on to say UK DJs are more structured and technical, and US DJs are faster paced and less rule bound. And then as far as the income, Brian has said UK DJs struggle with oversaturation and low rates, and US mobile DJs tend to earn more. So they pretty much said the same thing that we had said.
It's pretty close. I mean,
Yep, so let's go on to the next one. Go ahead and finish so we can let Mikie Mike go and catch up on his sleep.
No, I just sent you an I am back.
Okay. All right, so let's go into our next part. Let me see, is there anything, nothing in the chat? Let's go into our shout outs. So as you can see, we're pretty much the core as far as DJing. We're pretty much the same, it's just our mindset sets us apart. And for our shout outs for this week goes to our guest, Crossfire. And you can follow him on Twitch TV at Crossfire DJ. And you can also find him on Facebook as well. Speaking about Facebook, if you haven't done so already, join our Facebook group page. And you can find us by going to the search engine and typing in Cue It Up DJ podcast. And there's two groups you can join. You can join the public group or the private group. The public group is where I post most of the stuff. I really don't know how to differentiate, make things different for the private, because the private groups seem to be more of the DJs that are deep into DJs, the higher ups, I should say, like your Brian S. Reds and your professional ones that does all the what do you call it, the seminars and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I don't know what they would. Wouldn't think they would enjoy the little simple stuff that they already know. So give me some ideas to put.
Everyone starts off DJing somewhere, so we'll just make it wherever we can.
Yeah. And
well,
then
if you really follow Brian S. Red, I mean, he'll tell you, hey, I used to scratch, I used to do this, do that, and okay, he had his stroke. He is a very big inspiration to me, and he should be an inspiration to all other DJs out there. He has so much knowledge that he shares every day, daily, never asking for a kickback, or he doesn't have a Patreon page or anything. I think if he had a Patreon page, he'd be sitting pretty. But he wants to share his knowledge, and he wants to have DJs feel comfortable in what they're doing. Not every DJ could scratch. Not every DJ could quick mix. And he basically is just a crossfader, but he knows when to fade out of that one song and fade into the new. Even though the client doesn't want, no mashup or quick mixing or whatever, but there are songs that you have to get in and you have to get out of. There's no ifs, ands, buts about it. But Brian is definitely an inspiration to me. I don't know if you ever go to the chill room. They say go there. You'll meet a ton of DJs that are amazing, amazing people. And not one of them are patting themselves on the back saying, well, I do this, I do that. Jay Brennan, he works for Pioneer. And I mean, this guy's been all over the world. Never do you hear him patting himself on the back. Brian, he's been all over the world. You don't hear him patting himself on the back either. He's just an ordinary person who likes to DJ and likes to share his knowledge.
So when is the DJ chill room?
Every night they're there from, I think it's 11 o'clock till 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. The one gentleman, he was like me tonight.
Mm.
I had one of the doors tonight. You know which one that was, right?
Uh-huh. I guess that's why I never jumped on, because I'm in bed at that time.
Yeah. We'll see.
I'll second what Mikie Mike said about Brian S. Red. I met him at DJX last year. Absolute fabulous fellow.
Yes.
He pointed out a few things that I didn't know about in the US as a DJ. And I took everything he said on board. Mm. And I said, he's got a good point here. Let me try and implement some of that. So, yes, big shout out, Brian S. Red. Thank you, mate.
Mm-hmm. I'll tell you, they had Johnny Young. He used to send out a newsletter. No, he does it through email. And they were doing a segment on different setups and stuff. And it wasn't bad DJ setups or good DJ setups, but it's like he didn't criticize, but he critiqued each setup. And I had to DJ the graduation party, or it was the Sweet 16. And where I had it set up was a tiny little area. My son does all my setup for me because my back and my neck. And I'm 6'3", he's 6'4". The one thing I told him right from the beginning when he started doing my setup, so Michael, I said, I take the bottom of my speaker and it goes right here, right in the middle of my forehead. 90% of the people at an event are shorter than me. So this way you're not hitting them in the face with the music. You're not blasting their ears out. You're having it above their head and it's reaching different parts of the room that most DJs don't do that. They have the speaker, boom, and it's hitting a person 5'7", 5'8", right in the face. So you're killing people. So Brian pointed that out, and they actually did a story about that in Disc Jockey News. I was, John got in touch with me about it. Said, yeah, I don't care. You can run with it. That's cool. I mean, I don't want nothing from DJ TV. I'm happy that you're using it. Pointing something out to other DJs.
And LaRuckus also said Brian is fire as well.
Yes, he is.
I was
inspiration.
Yeah, I was going to ask him to be on the show, but I got scared.
Ask him tonight.
I was like, I'm not worthy.
He's regular, just like us.
Yes, he honestly, he is so down to earth. It's unbelievable. Do you know Jay Brennan, Crossfire?
I've actually think I've met him over at DJX. I wasn't 100%.
He's doing a big seminar.
I might recognize him.
He's doing a big seminar this X. I don't know if you ever heard of Jimmy Spin.
No.
Jimmy passed away a few years ago. Totally awesome DJ, and he would go to an event and he would be DJing and he would be messing with the people's minds like he would have believed. Like he was at Stems before there were Stems. The guy was unreal. I met him on Facebook. He sends me a friend request because he tried to become friends with all these different DJs, and he was from upstate New York. And getting this phone call one day, and I think he lived in North Carolina now before he passed away. I'm like, who the hell's calling me? So then all of a sudden I start getting a FaceTime. I'm like, here's Jimmy Spin. Hey, Jim, what's up, man? His real name was Jimmy De Palma. He said, I just tried calling you. Why didn't you pick up? I'm like, I didn't know who you were. I just see this number come out from South Carolina or North Carolina, whatever state he lived in. And, we became very, very good friends. He'd call me from time to time. He was like Brian, down to earth. He was in the music and art industry for years.
Go ahead and finish your story.
Oh no!
I was waiting all show to do that before you go into your story.
I heard the music come on. Like, oh man, I'm getting cut off.
Oh my goodness!
But he was
that was classic.
He was a total gentleman, and he loved music. He loved life, and unfortunately, he left us. But he left a lot of good memories with everybody that was in the chill room and on DJing TV. I mean, you just look him up on DJing TV, and some of the stuff he has come off. It's like, oh my God. Yeah, it's like watching Robin Williams sometimes,
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then LaRucka says, Brian would be a great one to have on the show. By the way, I am also looking into getting him on my show, but I'm shy to ask as well, too.
Oh my God, what's wrong with you people? Just ask him. He's not going to bite you. He's a great guy. Believe me, I'll ask him.
Because I was almost tempted when he replied back to my question, and he replied back a couple of times. I almost was going to put it out there, but I was like, I don't know, because
you wouldn't believe how many times I have inboxed him different messages that people have asked me about music, about this, about that. And I'm going to tell you right now, if he doesn't get back to you usually within a 24-hour span, he will get back to you. and because he might be doing some research on to get the correct answer right. It's one thing Brian will not do. He will not give you a baloney-filled answer or a hot air answer that you're still going to think about. He's going to give you the correct answer. And I'll say that about him, John Colley, Jay Brennan. They're just boom, boom, boom. They're dead on. They're honest people. They're not going to fill up your sail on your sailboat just to push you out further out into the sea. And you're like, oh my God, now I need more information. They're going to give you the right information, and you're not going to have to worry about it. So if you want Brian Red on here, I'll send him an inbox, definitely.
All right, because Lil Ruckus says as soon as you ask him, then he'll have him in here too.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds great, man. Honestly, well, he is a wonderful man. Wonderful, wonderful man. No, I didn't know him personally prior to his stroke. You know, I always watched his videos before his stroke and even after his stroke. To see what he was prior to his stroke and see what he has become after his stroke, sure, he was a little bit more, I can't say like he was scratching more this or that more, but yeah, he loved music. His focus was music. Now he's even focused not just on the music, he's focused on the DJ industry, helping other DJs to become what he is, if not better than what he is. He doesn't want the industry to die out or fall into a place where the music industry has basically fallen into, that there's no artist today. It's a computer, goes out to somebody else, a drum machine gets put in, goes out to somebody else, some other stuff gets put in, boom, boom, and all of a sudden there's a song. Wow. And we didn't have one artist play on this song, you know?
All right, so let's head on out. And if you you can follow me.
Well, I wasn't done yet.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm just teasing you.
Story time's not
No,
over.
no, I'm alive, right?
All right. You can follow DJ Mikie Mike on all his socials at DJ Mikie Mike on Twitter, and then on Facebook, and then it's at DJ Mikie Mike 45 on Instagram. You can follow me at Hitman DDub, and that's HITMANDDUB on all my socials. And then YouTube is at the Hitman DDub. And then we have a thing called the DJ Collective Network, where it's one culture, many voices. Welcome to our prime time lineup, a weekly schedule of live stream shows built for DJs by DJs. Whether you just starting out or scaling your business, we got the knowledge, stories, and inspiration that help you level up. And this is our disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed during the DJ Collective Network primetime shows are those of the individual hosts and guests of that show. They do not necessarily reflect the views or official stance of the different shows of the DJ Collective Network as a whole, its affiliates, or production partners. Viewers and listeners' discretion is advised. So we have a full calendar. Actually, we got something going on every day except for Saturday. But on Mondays from 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, for every DJ chasing dreams, no matter the odds, it's your time to spend with DJ Cool Thing. And then on Tuesday at 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Twitch, join Buddy and his weekly guest panel of DJs for unfiltered conversations that matter. The DJ Roundtable with Buddy from TBM Productions. Real DJs, real stories, real lessons, all at the Roundtable. You can also catch the broadcast every Monday. It's at 1 o'clock or 12? It's 1 o'clock? Can you hear me?
Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, because remember last time I was talking and I didn't get a response, the audio went out. So it's like,
I thought you were talking to me.
I was talking to somebody in general. Okay, at 1 o'clock, and you can find it on his YouTube channel at TBM Productions DJ1. And then on Wednesdays at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, it's the DJ Biz School with Sean. It's not just about spinning tracks, it's about spinning success. Learn the business side of DJing, branding, marketing, SEO, and strategy. And then on Thursday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on YouTube, it's the Cue It Up DJ Podcast with me, Hitman, DDub, and DJ Mikie Mike. It's not just about talk, it's real tools for real DJs of all skill levels. And when you're not rocking gigs on the weekend, tap in with these other dope shows in the lineup. Oh, I forgot to show my little things. All right, that's the DJ Biz School at 7 o'clock. That's the ours on Thursday. And then it's the KJ Chill Room Karaoke Chat with Matt and Eric on the Disc Jockey News TV. That's DJN TV. And you can join them live every Monday at 7 o'clock just by going to djntv.com/KJ Or you can see the rebroadcast every Sunday night at 9 o'clock on the DJ Network TV YouTube channel. Then also our guest from last week, he has his podcast that he's getting ready to start back, and me and DJ Mikie Mike will be part of that show, and it's tomorrow on YouTube at 7 o'clock, and you can find that at the Recreate the Vibes on YouTube. And it's the We Create the Vibes podcast with your host, DJ Reese. DJ Reese discusses the mindset, the hustle, and the strategy it takes to be a successful DJ in the game. And now he's dropping gems to help you do the same on the We Create the Vibes podcast. And that's at 7 o'clock on Friday. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe to all of our channels. And you can join each one of our channels. Also have a Facebook group page. You can make sure you join our group page, and then you can find the links to everyone else's group page. And as always, before we head on out, the fade out message is different sound waves, same mission, rock the room and raise the bar. And so the Ruckus said, okay, I got it right at 1. That's Buddy Show rebroadcast on YouTube. And then Buddy went on to say, gotta tell Mike to stop sleeping on the show. Yeah, because we almost had a heart attack.
Yeah, well,
it was interesting.
Buddy, if you went through what I went through yesterday, I don't know if you'd ever be doing the round table that night. Believe me. my pulse rate was 132 sleeping. So that's not a good thing to happen, you know? And it's just, I guess it wore my body out, because I even drank what do you call it, Rockstar today. Drank my coffee. I was fine, and then just boom. I guess I don't know if it's my body that reacted to the stuff like that. But I want to go to your name, Dwayne, DJ the Hitman, DDub. If I had that name here in northeastern Pennsylvania is full of mafia. I I'd have to be dressed up in a suit and a tie, you know, with a little rose or something on my chest here, you know.
Yep. Just think if me and Crossfire was a duel and we were in your town, that definitely would bring some side-eye looks from everybody.
Yeah, yep.
I still get those side-eye looks, even with my one knee there.
Yep. I gotta make sure I have my sample loaded up too. The little bing 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 bing, all the gunshots and stuff every time I mix out of the song. So, did you want to have any final words before we head on out, Crossfire?
Hit the like button. You know, subscribe if you want to. I mean, there's always something good you can always pick up from the show. Make sure you follow the other shows. Do the same for those, and just enjoy what you do.
Okay. We gotta have you back on another time.
Definitely.
You know,
Definitely.
it's great having you on. So far we've been doing pretty good about having guests on. We haven't had a clunker yet.
I think our ratings will go up tonight with me sleeping, huh?
I don't know. Because I was debating on whether to cut that part out or,
Yeah, you could.
or
I
keep
think
it
you
in.
should.
Huh?
I think you should cut that part out. I
Okay.
apologize. I mean, I just, I'm watching. I'm like, oh my God, look at me,
Uh-huh.
But there's times I am listening. My microphone's down lower, so I am like this. But now I'm sitting down lower, so I'm basically head on with my microphone.
Uh-huh.
But I'll tell you that those shots getting in my back, and that's the first time I had 16 shots done. Usually it's anywhere from 10, 8, 10, or 12 was the max. Now they did 16. It did help. I could turn my neck. It's great. I could sit up straight. It's great. But it took a toll on my body. I mean, you're putting a foreign substance into your body. Something's going to happen,
Yep. So hopefully
And
it won't happen tomorrow since Reese's show is a little bit earlier.
No. I was supposed to have the shots done last week, but I had a little, either a bee sting or something on my elbow here, and it became infected. And I didn't know this. The nurse practitioner told me if she had given me the shots, I could have got septic, and it's instant death. There is nothing they could do to survive. That I would survive. I'm like, ooh, that's something a little scary to learn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what was going through my mind when because we played noises. We tried to wake you up and do everything. It's like, and we even tried to call your phone. It's like,
I
got to play the whole show. You got to play the whole show, and it may go viral of a DJ collapsing on the podcast. Do it.
Well, at least the next couple of hours they'll get a chance to watch it before, because YouTube, I guess, after a certain time frame, it gotta do its thing. So it's like I can't even watch it and do edits.
Yeah.
Until like the middle of the day.
But it was a great show. Crossfire was great meeting you under the circumstances of me getting these shots in my back and stuff. And it was nice meeting you yesterday. Total gentleman. I've learned a lot from you and a lot about the UK DJs. There's a lot of similarities that I fit in with them. I'm not on the microphone a lot. I want my music speaking for me. There's every form of music, there's similarities in DJs. The same thing. There's similar with things that we do, and then there's things that we do that are totally different. But it's great to always learn about a new culture, DJing for a different culture than just the American DJ, or following a certain footprint. Hey, you're doing a wedding and it's this. Did the Indian wedding? It was totally opposite. Did the African wedding? It basically was the same footprint as a American wedding, but there was different things that were added into it. So I'm not one that pats myself on the back. I don't go out, putting ads out on Facebook or even putting my name up in different stores in our area. These people are getting in contact with me, and I asked them, how do you get in contact? How did you find me? Google. I go, okay. I had people from Philadelphia, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. How did you find me? Google. I'm like, oh, okay, no problem. I'm there. I'm DJing. But you got to learn. You have to learn to adapt. Every event's different. Don't go into that event with the same mindset as, I'm going to do it this way. That's it. I'm going to be the star of the show. Listen, when you go to see a band, you're paying to go see that band. So they are the star of the show. They're not paying to come to see you as a DJ, unless you're somebody like David Guetta and stuff like that. That's totally different. You're a wedding DJ, you're an event DJ, you're just a mobile DJ. That's all you are. You're not getting paid from the guests coming in. I mean, some bars, I don't know, they used to up here have a cover charge. It might be a $2 cover charge. and the DJ might have got 50 cents from it. I know the bands, they always had a $5 cover charge, and the band got $1 from that cover charge. But still, there might be 1,000 people in that bar, so they got $1,000. But that was their payday. The bar didn't pay them. So then you got 5 members in the band. They each got $200, but they were their own roadies, setup crew, everything, and then they had to get up and go to work the next day. So DJs, get out of that little persona that you are the star, you are the limelight. You're not. You're a mobile DJ, a wedding DJ, event DJ. They're not there to see you. They're there to see the couple or the person that you're DJing for.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little long, wasn't it, Dwayne?
Yeah, but we can head on out.
Okay.
All right. So I'd like
Gentlemen,
to
thank you. It's been awesome.
and thank you for coming, and thank you
Yes.
for the idea for the show. Yep.
And you're going to be back on, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to come back on.
Okay.
All right. In person or at least in the chat.
Oh, definitely in the chat.
Okay. And then LaRucka said they were out, so I hope they have a good night. And same to you, buddy. And everybody else that had tuned in to
thanks
see
for
us
coming.
live.
The Ruckus, thanks for coming.
Yep. We got to reach out and meet up, and so we can do something because they've been here. So, yeah, I think that should be the next move.
Yeah,
Try to reach
definitely.
out and see if we can do
Now,
something
Crossfire,
together.
you're not going to come back on live with us?
Yes, I'm going to come back on live.
all
Just
right.
gonna be in chat a bit more than coming on live.
Yeah, I mean, again, like last week, every show I always say, we're here, if I'm not sleeping, we're here to express our opinions as a DJ, try to help other DJs to get into the business. I have 22 years experience. I love it. I started off as a joke, and the joke turned into something that is profitable. Last couple of years, ever since COVID, everything has changed. So don't get yourself down on that. If your business has changed, it's not just your business as a DJ, but all businesses have changed.
Okay. And on that note, I would like to tell everyone to remember before it's time to spin, you got to first cue it up. Take care. See you all next week. And make sure you go out there and crush those gigs.
I'ma rise like the sun while the world still sleeps. Scouring the sights looking for new leads. Marathon gigs with no in between. Your worth is from a rear view they seen. They wanna party, but I'm battling fatigue. Chasing passion while my mental is still out on leave. It's an everyday hustle, so respect the DJ life. We make it look easy, but the pressure's tight. Cue up the pressure. Pressure. Cue up the pressure. Pressure. Cue up the pressure. Pressure. Every dollar earned got a story to tell. Dreams in the booth where the DJs dwell. Clubbing is a struggle like it's all I've got. Set it up, break it down, travel to the next spot. Ambitions, the engine stay sharp like a tool. Revving through my gigs, power drinks is fuel. It's an everyday hustle, we'll respect the DJ life. We make it look easy, but the pressure's tight. Pressure. Cue up the pressure.